Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie, and for today's video, we are talking about the first 2 episodes of Welcome to Derry. So this is a series that I am very excited about, and I've been very excited about since they announced that they were going to be doing a It-based series. If you don't know, that's what this is. It's a series that is being released on HBO, and it is being released 1 episode per week, which I did not realize at first. I kind of, because of the way streaming works so often now, I kind of expected the whole thing to be released at once. So when I had sat down to watch the first episode last weekend, I realized, I was like, oh, okay, this is just being released 1 episode at a time, and I hadn't really planned on reviewing it at that time, but I definitely have some thoughts with our first 2 episodes so far. So I did think that it would be fun, and I'm excited to kind of review each episode and talk about it with you guys. So if you don't know, the series is set in the 60s. It is a prequel to the events of the films. I think particularly the early 2000s Bill Skarsgård Pennywise series, which is definitely one of my favorites. I love a good series franchise, obviously, and the 2017 It is still definitely one of my favorite horror films. I love that movie so much, and of course I always watch the second one, and as someone who has watched it multiple times, I really don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. But anyway, the series is a prequel to those, and just like in very much It fashion, we are greeted with a group of young, like, teenage kids who are going through some stuff. All of them are kind of dealing with their own personal things going on with their families. I will say there's definitely a lot more like adults involved in this series than in the films. The adults in the films are kind of an afterthought, mainly because, and they haven't really addressed it so far in the show, but the kids more see what's going on than the adults do. That's kind of part of like Pennywise's thing. Is really just going after kids. But in the first episode, it does start with very much like the film, an opening scene of we see a kid who is kind of innocently gets in this car with this family who have just picked him up. They, ask him where he's going. He's kind of like anywhere but Derry. And so he's just kind of driving along with this family, which is already like a little bit kind of weird, obviously. And then some real creepy shit happens that is obviously Pennywise, or It, whatever you feel like calling it. Its actions have taken on this family to take over this small child, and it is revealed, we find out later on in the episode, that part of him wanting to leave is him being kind of bullied and outcast at school. And I'm not gonna lie, that first opening kill, you could call it, was a little bit much for me. I think, and that's kind of been a gripe that, I'm not gonna lie, I've had so far with this series, is the fact that the kills are already so intense. Like, every scare, I'm gonna call them scares instead of kills, but every scare that we have so far has been really, really intense, and I'm just scared that it's not gonna leave much to be developed. I think that that's part of what is really cool about the films, is that Pennywise really builds up. So he's obviously trying to build up as much fear in these children to feed off of, inevitably. So you can argue that it makes sense for him to do these really big elaborate scares, but again, in the films, they start out very subtle, small scares, just kind of weird little things where the kids are kind of like, did that happen? Whereas the scares in these are just, again, so really over the top. I mean, the opening one, obviously spoilers here, so if you haven't seen, the opening scare that we have is that the mom in this family starts like giving birth, and she gives birth to like this creepy demon baby who then like takes over like and attacks like the whole car, and that comes back to play later on in the episode. There's a scene where the kids are in a theater, and it kind of like comes out of the screen and attacks them, but each time it's just really, in my opinion, a little bit too over the top. Same thing with this second episode. I thought that I kind of liked the second episode a bit more. They did do a bit more of character backstory. We met more of our characters for the series. We find out more about each of these characters, what's kind of going on in their lives in Derry. One of the families which is a military family, was kind of brought them to Derry, different things like that. And so it took a bit of a while till we had our first scare, which again felt a little too over the top. And in particularly, to kind of give a good example of what I mean, is that in the second episode there is a grocery store scene where one of our characters, Lily, she is this young girl whose father died in an accident at a pickle factory that he worked at. Sorry, it's hard to say that without like laughing, but because of what happened and the fact that Lily kind of saw things, she was sent to an institute that is her character's kind of backstory, and so which obviously with everything that Pennywise is doing plays very heavily into that, but she is walking through this grocery store that has very 60s vibe. The voice over the speaker is very monotone, it just kind of keeps repeating the exact same thing in a very like monotone voice, and it builds up to a very creepiness. We see the aisles kind of move around Lily. She's not seeing it initially, but we are. And then we see the adults in the background. They did something that I did very much love, which I felt like took from the library scene in the first It film, meaning the 2000 versions, where you have the adults in the back just being like very creepy. Like a woman at one point just kind of goes like, and that's kind of going on around her, and she's not really realizing it at first until she's completely blocked in by a wall of pickle jars, and she sees her father's face in one of the jars, and he says something along the lines of like, "One last kiss for daddy." She takes the jar and smashes it, and it is a phenomenal scene. I was really, really enjoying the build-up in this scene. But then it just kept going, and I felt like it would have been a perfect scene to have her just kind of like smash that jar, and then come to reality where the adults are like, "Lily, what are you doing?" Like, which we do get there, but the jars around her continue to build up with different body parts of her like father, until like they all fall on her. And then she is attacked. And again, I felt like where it kept going was unnecessary. She was already pretty scared and startled by the jar, and I think it would have just, again, been perfect if she had just smashed the jar and come back to reality, freaked out and terrified. It's just, again, like building almost too much. It almost feels a little bit too much like they're trying to, I guess, pander too much to those who are watching. Like they feel like the creators of the show feel like they have to have every scare be big and scary to keep our attention, which they may not be completely wrong, especially if you're aiming at, maybe a not normal like horror fan crowd, where for a lot of us, especially those of us who love the films, because I feel like I can't be the only one with this opinion, where a lot of us horror fans would be kind of okay with that, though I do obviously think there is that side of horror fans that would judge them for not being over the top, for not being too scary, that would be like, this is so boring. But for me, I feel like personally, at least, it's so much better to have that build up, because that is part of what it does. It builds up the fear in these children little bit by little bit until they're just completely petrified. They feel like they've gone completely crazy, which is kind of what they are doing with like Lily's character. But, you know, I just feel like all of the scares have been so over the top, and that's just kind of taking away for me. But I am gonna obviously continue to watch it, and like I said, I did enjoy this second episode a bit more than I did the first one. I'm gonna watch every episode and I'm gonna review, and you know, we'll obviously see how we feel about the series at the end of it. And I am excited for the next episode. I believe it comes out November 9th, so I'm gonna set myself a little reminder so that I don't forget to watch it. Let me know what you guys are thinking of the series so far. Is anyone sharing that same opinion with me, or am I just on my own here with this one? Let me know in the comments below, and we can definitely talk more about the series down there, because I would love to do that. So let me know what your thoughts are so far. I hope that you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more spooky and horror related content, and I will see you all again later with another video. Bye!